Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start today on the background. I'm going to put a divider cardstock page here to protect the two pages. As I mentioned before, I am going to use a black alcohol marker. I'm using my Spectra Add chart pack marker. You can use whatever you want. This one is pretty controlled, a really firm brush tip. You can use a Copic, a black Ohuhu, any black generic marker. The better quality, the more rich and deep it'll be. If you don't have an alcohol marker and you don't want this to show black through here, then you can use like a black Tombow Dual brush pen or the Ohuhu Maui water-based brush pen. The brush pens can be a little streakier. It's not going to be nice and solid and black quite, but you'll have to run over it with a black pencil later on after it dries. And if you don't have any of the above, you can straight up use the Prismacolor black pencil. I like a really deep midnight sky, which is why I use the marker. The pencil, you'll have to do a single layer and then another layer and build that color. So it'll be a little bit time consuming. But for now, we're going to use alcohol marker. So I'm just going to get in here and I'm going to go around. So I need to think for a minute. I have these little stars here. So I actually think I want to put in the yellow on the stars first so that we don't end up, it's harder to do that after the fact. For the stars, I'm going to use a Pitt Artist pen, a yellow pen. I have a bright cadmium yellow. I've used this in many of my videos. The Pitt Artist pens are fiber tip, but they're very pointy and firm. They don't move and they don't bleed through. Since these are such little things, it's going to be hard to do anything with a much wider tip. You can use a fine liner if you have one. You can use like the brightest canary yellow pencil with a really sharp tip. So I'm going to use this. I mean, it's so bright you can actually see it. We need to really do this before we put in the background, and also if you go over a little, then the black will cover it up because these are so little. And you can also do your stars in another bright color if you'd like, if you only have different colors. I do recommend the Pitt Artist pens. I use them in most of the tutorials. The 60 set is the one I use, and I believe it's maybe, I don't know, it might be $130 without a sale or coupon. You can also buy individual colors and slowly start adding to your collection on Amazon. I try to link below in each Patreon video what I'm using. The 60 set and, if I remember, the individual. But you want to start with a really good yellow, the black, the white. I'd say yellow is probably used the most because I use it for windows, for moons and everything. I think I got them all. Just double checking because I tend to miss things. All right. Okay, I was interrupted because I tried to start filming, as always, on a weekend. And I'm interrupted. Okay, black marker. I'm going to go around the stars in a circle. I'm not going to try to get up in those little nooks. I'm going to use a more fine line little black pen for that, because alcohol markers can bleed a teeny bit over. So we're going to go around but not quite touch it. Let's just go around in a circle and we'll fill in all around it. The bat's the same thing. You can kind of make a little circle around it, leave a teeny bit of white space. We fill in with our micron or something. All right. There we go. I'm gonna go around to these little areas, the cloud. Go a little closer on the cloud. And then I'm going to fill in. So these chart pack, this is from my chart pack Add Spectra alcohol marker set. They're high quality artist markers. It's a very firm brush nib and it's very rich. I'm going to be sad when it runs out because I don't know if I can buy it individually. But that's all right because I have lots of other sets I can pull black markers from. Actually, Blick might have it individually. So I'm going to go around this bat as well. Let's leave a little white area. We'll fill that in later. I'm going to go around these spider legs. Won't be able to do it fully black or we won't see him because our background is black. Okay, so let's go up to the hat. First I trace and then I fill in the middle. Okay, now we can start filling in. I'm just gonna use brush strokes. It's a little time consuming, not nearly as much as the pencil, but you want to do a good job, so go around the moon. An inexpensive alcohol marker, like one of those ones that you get from China that are like some weird generic name you've never heard of, like the Bianyo or some of the Cali art even. Those are going to look more of a faded black, and over time in your coloring book, like 2 years from now, if you open it up, you'll see it fades. So I try to use high quality alcohol markers. Now, if that's all you have, don't be disheartened, because for the first 4 years of my coloring, that's all I used. And I didn't even get into pencil until several years later, when I was after using pens and markers and glitter pens. And I used, you know, whatever. But I do go back now and I look at those pages and I see, oh goodness, they're really faded. And if I compare the quality of the richness of those old markers to like all the newer higher end ones I have that are better ingredients, better ink pigments, it's like night and day. Like, you wouldn't think it makes a difference, but it's actually enormous. All right, I'm gonna get that right around there. And the good news about this brush marker is you can dab teeny bit here and there. I might touch mine with pencil up anyway, but if you have a brush tip that's any softer than this, you're going to struggle. I'm actually probably not going to really, I can get into around this bat, I think, because this tip is firm enough. Some, like the water-based brush tips, are really soft, so they're going to bend and it's harder to control which way it goes when you're getting in tiny little areas like this. Okay, I'm not going to bother with the stars. We'll get to that later. Don't get any closer. Believe me, I've been there, done that. It doesn't work. We'll fill that in with something smaller. I might come back and do a second layer. Now let's get up here. I want to go outline this moon. I am very carefully get around this bat. Gonna get into the little nook here. Okay, so I'm gonna speed up the video as I get in and do the rest of this double time and maybe a second later, and then we'll continue. Okay, so you can see that I did do the 2 layers of that juicy alcohol marker. I do think that 2 layers is really necessary. I'm going to keep this divider, this cardstock here for a while until it's fully dry. So it doesn't, if I press down, it doesn't get onto the other page. So we can go ahead now and do their noses. And I also added on the palette under noses, I put noses and hands, because if you look at all the way that Teresa Goodridge has them, they're all the same color. It's technically part of their skin or whatever. And so, and I've done this color combination before in my garden gnomes one she did, and it looks really good. So let's go ahead and work on that. So I have here gnome noses and hands. Hands I put above it, but it really doesn't start until the blush pink line. I'm adding actually one more color, which is the regular pink I had forgotten to put on, which is pink 929. So I'm going to put 929 pink, and I'm going to put this on the palette here. I'm going to put a square around this extra area plus the word hands above it, so you know this all goes together. All right. The pink is actually important. It's the darkest color, and then we go on to the pink rose and the pink and the light peach. So we're going to start with the pink 929, and I'm going to kind of gently outline the nose on the inside. So by that I mean I just kind of very softly am going to hold my paper down with 2 fingers because it bulges near the spine here. I'm going to very gently color, I'll follow the outline of those, but on the inside. Nice. Roll that in. Let's do this guy over here. Same thing. I'm using a light pressure, medium to light, not too light. If it was too light, you wouldn't see it. I'm just kind of fluffing it in so it's really soft, like a soft look to it. Bring it a little bit down. Okay. We'll finish the noses first and do this method, and then the hands. So let's move next to the blush pink. And we're going to color into that previous pink and bring the color down just a little. We're going to, again, close it in toward the middle where it'll get a little lighter. Just very gently. Okay, so this kind of softens it up and it helps lighten the color as it comes toward the center more. All right, so then we'll do the pink rose. And again, same thing. Leave some space in the middle for that light peach. And this one, we're just kind of overlapping the other two and maybe closing it in a little. So we have like a smaller circle. I'm just going to go round and round and round. You can kind of see how I'm doing that circle there. So first I'm going to lighten it up here. Then I'm going to go around, 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 around. That center is where we're going to put that peach in our first round. Our first round around. Light peach. Now I'm going to color this in the middle. All right, in the middle. It's pale, obviously. All right, again, swirling it in. Now we repeat the process, a little different, a little faster. We'll use the pink again, the darkest. We're gonna stay pretty close to the line and darken it up a little. We want a nice, obvious shadow to really help the noses kind of pop. So I'm gonna do a little more pressure, a little darker. I'm gonna go down here. Okay. Darkening it up. Okay, so you see how that pops a little more. So now the blush pink again. We're gonna put that right up a little higher, up where that one ended. A little bit darker as well. Darker, but also faded out a little. You still want that first pink to be the most popping color. All right. But I'm trying to just soften the line of where that other pink ended is what I'm doing. I only bring it down a little, but I'm mostly focused on where that line is. Okay, pink rose again. And same thing, a little further down toward the center. Start swirling it around a little softer. You can see it almost makes like a little glow where the other pink ends. Right before you get to that peach, just encircling that peach color a little bit. Let me put in our layers. And then again, the light peach. Put that right in the middle. Okay, that's good. And then I'm gonna actually take just a tiny amount of white, and I'm gonna touch that also in the very, not in the very center, but like around the ring where that lightest pink was, just to kind of create like a little bit of a more of a glow once we blend it out. Okay. And we can touch up again. I did see like a little bit, I don't know why it looks a little too pale right here. Okay. Okay, so now we can take our Prismacolor blender, really make sure there's no other colors on the tip. This is a very pale nose. You don't want any orange or yellow or anything like that on there. Really looking at it, make sure it looks the same color as the material. All right, we're mostly gonna blend in the center and circles, the swirls first. Then go back and start blending that ring kind of around it. Okay, I'm just gonna extend that out a little. Now I'm gonna blend around the whole outside, the whole thing together. Going all around. Now I'm going to go over the whole thing so it all kind of ties together, because there's a little bit of that substance in the middle, so it should protect it from putting too much pink over it if we go into the middle after being in the dark spots. I got my camera shaking again. There we go. Cute little pink noses. You can take the, and it's actually more like a skin tone outlined in a little bit of pink. You can take that dark pink if you need to, put it anywhere. You need a little pop. I think it's more important to have a little pop on the top. If you need it. I try not to do too much, then you might want to blend again, but. So we'll do the same thing on the hands. This one you can actually see her little mouth. I don't think we need the as dark of a pink because of the fact that we don't really, there's not a lot of, I don't know, we'll see. There's not a lot of space to do, to need to make like a shadow or to make it kind of pop. You want the mouth to be more subtle. I'm actually going to do the whole thing in the light peach and just maybe a little bit of, I don't even want to use the darker pink. I'm going to start with the blush pink. And I'm just going to lightly outline her chin down here. The blush pink is a little, I'm not going to do the one that's quite as dark, so it's a little more subtle down here. I'm going to do it really pale as well, and gentle. Okay, and then just go straight on in here with that peach color. And blend into that and around the mouth. Try to tie it together. It's subtle, but it's sufficient. So it's a little more skin tony. You can take the blush pink again and just put a teeny bit more at the chin just so you see a touch of pink, so it looks like it's a consistent skin tone, like tone. This one doesn't have it. I don't think we need the blender. I'm just going to blend a little bit right just where I put that pink and the peach at the bottom, just to make it be kind of cohesive. Look nice. Okay, so now we'll move on to the hands. We'll do the hands very similarly to the noses, maybe a little less popping pink. We'll see. I like it when the eye goes right to the noses. 929 pink. Let's do the same thing. We're going to outline in a very gentle manner these hands. I always feel like they're wearing boxing gloves. And sometimes I think, oh, these are mittens or gloves, but then I realize all the pictures are like that, so that's actually their hands. Unless you want to make it look like they're always wearing gloves, you could do a different color every time. Okay. Okay. Now we'll do the blush pink. Same thing, we're going to kind of color into it a little lighter pressure and circle inward. I probably won't do a second round on that darker pink. Just a little bit, bring it in and go over that. Not too much. A little bit. Okay. All right. blush pink. We're going to do the lightest pink now, the blush, no, yes, sorry, the pink rose. Pink rose is the lightest. And again, we're going to mix into this just around that ring where that other pink ended and circle around so we can get that peach in there. Leave a circle. First I kind of get it in and overlap it. Then I kind of circle it in. Then I kind of circle it in. Okay. Now we'll put in the light peach. Circling in the center. All right, so I do think maybe not use the darkest pink, but let's use like the blush pink, the second one, to kind of do the outside here. So it's not quite as dark as the other one. The outside will go over all the way up to and around on their hands here. And bring it in a little because that is the color that we had really brought in a little bit further than that, over that other pink, or with the other pink. So we're gonna just wanted the nose to be a little more bold, but just a little, not much. Same thing, we're gonna outline these hands here. I am making zucchini bread. I'm gonna have to go check it shortly. Alexa, how long left on my timer? Let's go to Alexa, how long left on my timer? Pink rose.
You have 25 minutes left on your
25.
timer.
It seems like it's been way longer. It takes an hour for my zucchini bread though. It's so good. It's my grandson's favorite. He's 2 years old. It's like the only thing he'll eat practically anymore. It actually has applesauce in it. And I try to use some healthy alternatives. I cut down on the sugar in it, and I've perfected like the perfect lower sugar compared to what the recipe originally had. And I use a little bit of healthier oil. It has eggs in it, but you can use flax eggs if you're vegan, which I tend to be off and on vegan. I'm vegetarian, but I tend to go back and forth if I'm vegan or not. I was for 5 years, and then I got a little taste of cheese again when I went to Napa Valley, and I was like, oh, boy, was I missing out. Now I like can't fully give it up, go back to it. I don't know. I can tell you I was thinner when I was vegan. I can tell you that. All right, let's move into our blender now. We'll just go ahead and blend in the center of their hands so it glows a little. Then we'll just start blending all around. Around. get a good blend so the transition line, it doesn't look like there's a harsh pink transition line. I want to bring all those colors together. And then I tend to want to take my white. I forgot to add white in these, but I'm just going to, you can't get very much on the blender, but you can put a little right in the center. If you push kind of hard, it'll take a little bit of it. Gives more of a glowy center. Can even put some more right in there. Whew, there we go. Well, we have their cute little hands and noses and skin tone done. I don't see any other parts here that we missed. If you see any white you missed along the nose line, touch that up. All right, so we can now move on to, I want to go ahead and do, we're going to do the cauldron or the bats last. I want to go ahead and work on these little bubbles. Okay, so I added the colors for the bubbles here, and you need your white, of course, and you're going to need Caribbean Sea, Sky Blue Light, and Powder Blue. All right, let me just sharpen mine while you get those. And bubbles, not the easiest thing to achieve realism for, but I have kind of a method I've done before. White one is being a pill. All right, sorry about that, bouncy. All right, so for the bubbles, we're gonna, the white obviously is the majority of the color, the center part, but we're gonna need to outline it. Outline everything with that Carib Sea. I'm gonna need to put like we did with this nose here. We need to put the darker color pretty thin, especially with the little ones, thin but firm around the edges. Okay, and just inside the black line. That you want really sharp. Do the really little ones first, while your pencil is the sharpest. And since this one's so little, I'm going to do the whole thing in that Carib color. Caribbean. I kept saying Carib. Caribbean, duh. Okay. Caribbean. I've been to Caribbean on a cruise. That's fun, sorta. All right. So I'm outlining each one. We went on a princess cruise. Went to Princess has its own island too, which was kind of interesting. And St. Martin. St. Thomas. Don't know why I blocked that one out. Only cruise I've ever been on with my father and my kids. He kind of ruined some of that for me. So I think I blocked it out. All right, let's do around there. Around the top. Okay, so I've got that nice outline. Let's do these ones down here. Okay. All right, so I outlined each one. I think that's fine. Next, I really want to go to the powder blue light. Powder blue light. And we're gonna outline and kind of overlap this line with the other blue a little bit and bring a teeny bit into the white space, kind of close it in just a little tiny bit. Not too much. We're keeping it pretty kind of white in the middle. Just putting it a little bit, mostly at the line of where the other blue ends, just to kind of like give it a softer look. I'm going to do this one here right there. A little bit on the inside. Okay. Sky blue light is the last color. And I'm going to put in that over a little bit the other two colors and a little bit more toward the middle, especially with this bigger bubble. Still gonna leave a little in the middle for the white, but this is the color that kind of softens everything, makes it look a little more like watery, I don't know, water-ish, what the word is I'm looking for. Just going to do in each one, a little bit into that line, a little bit down into the white area, still leaving some white for the white pencil. Just kind of using this to kind of, I'm actually going over all the colors with this. It kind of like softens up the border and softens everything up. Brings it together. All right. A little bit more. This one needs a little more right here. And then I'm very lightly touching it in the center. We're going to go over it with the white, but you want it to have a tint of that powdery baby blue, just a tint of it, really. So you just kind of like put that into the center. Okay, then take your white. Make sure there's no pink on it from those noses. And let's go ahead and get in the middle. I missed this one. There's little dots on each one, and we're going to put in something a little darker. So just leave that for now. Go around it, put in that white in the middle. Okay. And I'm I'm darkening. I'm going to push really kind of hard on this white to really try to make it pop. I might tap in a little bit of an acrylic paint marker. I'm not sure. We'll see. It might, that can make it too white. I'm trying to make it look a little more bobbly here. I'm pretty satisfied with this. For the, I'm gonna run actually this white all the way around the ring, which will also kind of soften up that edge we have put in. Just a little, I'm not gonna push too hard. I don't think we really need the blender sticks here. Okay. And you could theoretically take the Caribbean Sea, that dark one, if you want to put a little more definition in, just a couple of them. Right here, right there, maybe just along the top of a couple of them. Right there, right there. All right. There we go. I think that looks good. This is that darkest one. I'm just putting a little bit of the dark back along the top. And I think I might even take a little bit of the powder blue light. Just blend right under where I put that, just to make sure that line's not too hardcore. Not doing in the center, just right where I put in a little bit more of that. You can certainly use the blender stick. It may not be necessary. I mean, it might make it a little more smooth if it looks clunky to you at all. I'm satisfied, I think, with this. All right, so I actually think I'm going to take something like this. So this is a Papermate Flare Lavender, something with a fine point, or like a Faber-Castell Pitt pen, like a purple, something in a purple. This is like, or take a really sharp lavender pencil and do this, or a artist pen, because the pencil won't pop quite as much. A little bit of a fine point felt pen or fiber tip pen, that bold color will kind of pop over and like make your eye a little bit go to that bubble, gives it a little bit of a dimension so it's not so flat. And it'll go over any pencil that you might have got on that white dot as well. Okay, so that's really all I wanted to do on those little bubbles. Just grab whatever you have that's a solid pen for that. So that's all we have to do on those bubbles. So the cauldron is ready to go. I haven't picked a color for the handle. I don't know if I want to use a silver metallic or what I'm going to do for that. But we can go ahead and work now on this gnome's little dress. The hat's going to be multiple shades of orange, purple, because the hair is purple. It's going to be a brighter purple though. And I'm thinking of Hocus Pocus color, so I'm going to do an orange, a brighter orange yellow gown. I almost considered solid orange. The colors I selected are orange. Where is her dress? Gnome hat, wizard. Did I not write it down? Oh, I guess I didn't. Okay, well, by the time you have it, it might be written down. I'll write it down after this. So the orange, trying to pick colors that are not necessarily in this pumpkin here that's closer to her. But you can see with the color cards I have the orange and the Spanish orange, and these three, mostly heavier on the orange, which will look really nice, I think, with the color palette and kind of that Hocus Pocus Bette Midler orange and purple look. Maybe we'll do the book in a vibrant green, like an emerald green, kind of like also the Bette Midler's outfits in Hocus Pocus. So let's do the orange for the most part. I'm not even sure how much I'm gonna use of these other colors. And I'm gonna go ahead and not drop my pencil. This hand goes with this gnome hand. This is the gown. I think this is part of the gown right here. Not hair, because there's no definition in it. So I'm gonna put this orange in here. And this is that really vibrant orange we kind of put in the pumpkin's mouth over here. Just straight up orange, but it's very vibrant. And I'm gonna kind of close most of that in. I'm gonna leave a little white spot there to put in a little yellow. Now let's go over here and do this gown down here. I'm gonna do the kind of yellow on the bottom part, but we're gonna do mostly orange here, leaving a little bit spot there for that Spanish orange. Let's get in this little nook, can be Spanish orange. We'll get up here. We will follow the line. Let's follow the outline of the cauldron with the gown too. And this orange. It could also be, we need to put more yellow up here in these hand cuffs to the gown, because you don't want orange against orange. So I'll put it a little darker. I'll outline it in the orange, but then we'll do mostly the other colors in this cuff. Okay, so we'll darken it, do like a 1/2 of an 1/8 of an inch or something. Let's do this one too. Okay. This one we kept it lighter. A little darker. I'm going to darken it a little more. Second layer right over here. That way maybe we don't have to do it again. Okay, so let's move to the yellowed orange. Yellowed orange has more orange in it than the Spanish orange, if you kind of look at the two. The yellowed orange. And I'm going to blend into this sleeve going inward. I'm going to do it a little bit harder and use the pencil as the blender instead of a stick. I'm going to use pressure until it's nice and warm and waxy, and leave a little bit there for that lighter color. Let's do the same thing over here. Pressure hard, blend them together, nice and waxy and smooth and buttery. Okay, now for over here, we'll do it light, a lighter blend, and bring this a little bit in. This one too, let's go ahead and do a little lighter around that darker cuff ring. We're gonna bring this train going by, I just heard. Okay, let's get down here. Okay, let's try the Spanish orange. Let's go ahead and put this will look better when her hair's purple and pops out. Let's put this into this sleeve here, and you gotta really push and then kind of use this to go over everything, especially around the color change line, so it's nice and vibrant and thick and you don't see it too obvious of a line transition. All right, we'll do a little bit light down here. I might use a blender for that area. Let's do it pale, pale around the bookmark. Go down here. It's almost like a glowing. I'm actually going to take that dark orange and do the fold of a dress, but I'm going to do it really deep and dark with it, really hard, so it'll stand out a little bit. Good, so let's take our blender stick. I'm gonna use this mostly on this gown area down here in the center and up here in that orange. Not the sleeve. I want the sleeve to be a little more vibrant. I want it to be a little more dull here on the gown. So the sleeve kind of pops out a little bit more to our eye. Okay. It's a little more orange up here. Let's get down here, around the bookmark, along the hairline, the bookmark. This one looks almost more neon when you blend these colors together, which I like. I do want to touch in, I've got this white area here, a little bit of that Spanish orange right here. And go over it with the yellowed orange. Make sure you can see that. Okay. Yeah, this looks good. I think it also goes, I just realized, all the way up to under her chin. So I'm going to take the orange, I'm going to put this up under her chin. I'm going to do this a dark orange, all of it. I'm going to get nice and heavy. There we go. I want to touch a little more orange right there. Right there. Looks a little nice and I like that. Looks a little sort of glowy right around here. It's a good color. Okay, yeah, it's a good wizard gown. Looks good with the hair. It's gonna look even better with the hat. We'll do some vibrant greens in this spell book, maybe some yellow stars or maybe purple stars. I'll have to wait and see how that turns out with the hat and everything before I can decide. And the shoes, I haven't decided yet. I want to see how the hat turns out. So this other pumpkin, might make it a magic pumpkin too, like an alternative color. Maybe another purple one. I'm not sure. Probably not purple. I have to think about that. All right, let's move on. Alexa, stop. Time to check my zucchini bread. I'll be right back. Okay, so I was just testing a little purple on his hat there, which is fine when I was finishing up my color palette. So for the wizard, hat, did I not write down? Yes, I did. Okay, never mind. I'll make sure I was updated. Not losing my mind. Not the first time. So we're gonna work on her hat. I was testing something on here. We'll get back to that. So we have Dioxane, Purple Hue, Violet, Parma Violet, and White. So we're gonna go ahead and work on hers. Now we will start with the Dioxane Purple Hue because it's nice and dark. What I'm gonna do is we're gonna use these 4 colors and we're gonna kind of bring it together in the center on the big part and then do the same on the littles. So we're gonna color inward. So I'm gonna start with this dark color and I'm gonna bring it in about 1/4 of the way here. Lightening my pressure as I get out to about here. You can see how it's darker and then lighter. Darkest here. Okay, and we'll come back to another layer on that, but now let's do the same on this side. We're gonna be working our way toward the center. stop right about where that spider's foot is. We'll go back, do a little darker here. We are going to put it under layer once we get some of the colors overlapping. So don't worry if it's not dark enough just yet. Okay, and then we have, that's all we need there. So let's move on to the next dark color, which would be violet. And so let's, whoops, didn't sharpen this one. Oopsie. Let's color over, halfway over it, overlapping. Not all the way to the end, but halfway. A nice steady, blend it in, and then we're going to bring it in a little bit more. We'll bring it in. Now these, we're going to, end it in a white, so we're going to get a lot lighter as we get to the middle. Not quite there yet though, but we're lightening it. So where you start to pale out, the pressure should be all, and then where it becomes light should all be in the same area. Okay, let's get over here. Same thing, we're gonna go partly over. First I want to do partly over and then under this little spider's foot. Now I can kind of figure out what I want to do on this spider. Some gray and red maybe, or we'll see. Go in a little bit under the spider's face. It's a little tricky when you're right-handed. You might have to turn the book. I would do that, but I'm on camera, so I can't. It's a little awkward to go this direction without moving the book. All right. And I'm going to lighten it, go a little bit here between the two. A little lighter here. Okay. Next, let's go into the Parma Violet. And I'm going to blend into this and bring it to about just kind of the left side of the nose. So I have a flat end on this one, so I can do a nice soft fluffy straight across blend. Get that in. And then I'm not going to do the faded out end yet. Let me get over here. Let's overlap. We need to overlap, get a little bit of this color blended. So I'm going to bring it to about here. So I'm going to start really dulling my pressure. Really faint, a lot more faint, faded out almost, like a little baby tickle right there. I'm going to put in a little bit more so I can make it kind of, the color kind of die off like at a gradient. That's really, really like a light dusting. Lighter and lighter and lighter. Okay. That's about all the white we need. Maybe a teeny bit more, just touch it in there, like touch it in there a little tiny bit right there. Okay. But now let's go in with the white and do this whole middle section white. And yes, it's going to overlap a little bit into the purple, which is fine. Then do like a little bit on each side. That way we can get that kind of glowing effect. Just like that natural. And I do it right over the line where the purple ends. Okay. So let's go to the Dioxane and touch in. I want it to be a little darker over here before we start with our blender stick. I'm going to make it darker. Put in more dark. Don't worry about getting all that paper tooth, just darken it up. Okay. Next is the violet. We're gonna put some more of this in over the areas where we have the violet. All right. Now we'll go into the Parma violet again. Put a little more of that all the way here, gently into that white, very gentle, or right next to the white, real soft. Need a little more color though. A little more color here. All right. Good, and a last bit of white, a little bit on each side into that Parma violet, so it looks like it'll be fading right at that transition line. Okay, now, hey buddy, hey kitty. Let's use our blender stick. I'm gonna pick off the yellow. I have some yellow on there from the gown. All right, I'm gonna start blending in this white. And then into the light area on each side. Right at that line and work our way toward the darkest. Hold the paper down. You have to do really pretty hard here. We want it real blended, real soft, real natural. Okay, I'm gonna go here. Going this way into the dark, into the darkness. Told you we're doing more of a Bette Midler Hocus Pocus vibrant purple. Now I'm going to bring this back up. So I'm going to actually go now over the white, now that I even know I have purple on my stick. So I can tie these colors all together. So it's going to make it look a little dulled out, almost a little like grayish purple, which is intentional. So it's a little more subtle. Since we already have some of that material on there, it's not going to do a whole lot, but I'm really working it. You see this? Like it's actually making a bit of crumbs. There we go. Looks real like natural. And that looks more like a highlight versus a stark transition. Love it. Woo! Ah, okay, I'm tired. So we had two options. To do these purples every other all the way up, or to do what we just did here in each row all the way up and keep this white highlight in the center kind of going like this, which I'm really torn on that. I think we should be consistent and do this all the way up. So let's just do it. So we're gonna just do the Dioxane on each side all the way up. So white starts about here. We're gonna do just a, so let me draw. Just right about here with the Dioxane and follow the line. Okay. So we're just gonna do, just start wherever, and we're gonna be coloring inward again. I just wanted you to see how we're doing it. All right, first layer. Should be easier now that you've done it once. If you have to color up and down, you can, I guess, until we do the second layer, just to get that first layer in. I'm trying to kind of follow the groove of the hat all the way around the curve and down. And then let's do the same over here. So we'll do where this spider's leg is. About right here. And I just kind of curve it and follow the line of the hat. Very pale line, okay? And just kind of try to color in that way, going toward the center. For these narrow ones, I'm going to go up and down. I don't want to get any on the moon, so be very careful since we already did our moon. All right, let's okay. I think that's easy enough. Let's do the violet. We'll do the same thing. We're going to draw in the next section where we want it to stop. So right here where the buckle starts. Follow the line, curve it with, narrow it as you get up here. Let's do the same thing here. So we'll do here, we're going to curve it, narrow it as we get up here. Okay, great. Now let's just kind of color to, that's okay if you go a teeny bit over. Just remember, we're going to come back and lighten it up as we get into that next light color. There we go. Now I really want to keep the direction going toward the middle. Hey Leo, what's up? Tricky as it is. I'm also going to make sure I'm overlapping these two colors, getting a little bit of this halfway into that dioxane. So the light will be, so we can bring this out just a teeny bit more past that line and just start paling down, putting it down more pale as we get in. Let's go in. Leo, what's up? Be done in a minute. My cat wants out. I'm gonna do just a teeny bit more, lightening it up as I come out just a little bit more. He's being a pill. He wants out. It's like if I leave him out, he wants in, scratches the door. If I let him in when I'm doing the video, he wants out. It's like, I'm just don't know. Okay, now let's move to the Parma Violet. So I want to draw where we want the white. I want this one to stop about here. curve, narrow in. We'll have this white go straight up here. Narrow, curve in. All right, so let's try to color up to that line. Remember, just keep it kind of light as you get to that line. And maybe you can add a little color over the other color. I'll get back to that in a minute. We'll line it up a little. Getting some, hey Leo, I'm almost done. Just gonna have to wait. All right, so I'm gonna go just real soft again over that line we did. One, so you can't really see it, but two, so we can transition in that white for a little glow. All right. Okay. Well, we put in the white. Looks kind of like a snake, but it'll look good when we're done. Let's put in the white all the way down the middle, all the way up here, all the way down. Now, as you can guess, we need to go to a second round to just darken things up a little. It'll be much faster, but the Dioxane, particularly, we want to darken up. Try to keep it around in the range of where you stopped the color before. We are darkening it up a little there. Let's do the same over here. Okay, now let's get the violet. Same thing. Start to darken this up. We want that hat nice and vibrant. Just try to go where you think this color ended before. Leo, stop. He's scratching at my door. He's got everything he needs in here. There's no reason for him to go out. He just wants to see what everyone else is doing, so he wants out. Then if I let him out within 5 minutes, he'll want back in. But I can't leave the door open because there's people on the weekends distracting me when I'm trying to teach coloring. All right, we're gonna go in a little bit here, straight on all the way up. I know it seems time consuming, but that's how you really get these nice blended shaded looks. And Prismacolors, okay. So we'll do the Parma Violet, and it looks kind of funny, but I like that highlight up the middle of the hat. All right, we're gonna go all the way up to the white, or down, up and down, whichever way you want to get that in. It's okay to overlap some of those other colors. It'll make a nice blend. Leo, scratchings are going to get you out faster, buddy. Be done in a minute. Okay, So then take the white again and blend kind of around where your, you know, your lighter purple started that we just touched in, because we want it to create like that blur, like a blur. Okay, take the blender, pick off the purple so we can start with the white in the center. Big mistake, I just smeared it. I always forget to use my brush. Okay, I'm gonna actually go up and down the middle. And then I'm gonna move into that blurred area where we overlapped this purple. Then I'm gonna work away from it. Straight down each section, holding the paper. You're gonna want to do a lot of firm pressure here. Get your arm workout in. There we go. Almost done, buddy. I'll go back to that middle. Let's go on this side and go outward. Whew. Okay, now we're going to blend the white and the purple all together so we can bring some of that purple into it. So I'm basically going to blend straight across, which will back and forth bring in some of that purple. Hold the paper. So it's not too, you know, booming in your face white and looks natural. Gonna go all the way up. You can also go right down the middle once you got some purple in there, but I'm trying to keep it all same direction. Overlapping. Woo! If you go too hard, you catch a little bit of paper. Better stop. I tore the paper a little. That's okay. Rarely happens. Just take your little pencil right there and fix it. And the reason is because it's poofy. It's this perforator makes it bulge up, so there was air pocket underneath. I wasn't pushing down hard enough, so just be careful, make sure you're pushing down hard enough. Okay, looks good. Shoot, except for that right there, darn it. Make sure you're really pushing that paper flat, because when you get this air pocket underneath and you're blending, I did a little damage there, but I have, let's see if I can fix it with this. Put a little shadow, a little bit in there. All right, well, I'll fix that later, but for me, we're done. We're done on this. I have to touch this up. Let this dry, but it looks good. Time consuming, but good. It's a little, right there, I botched it. Need something a little darker to disguise that. All right, close enough. So I'm gonna let that dry because that was a little wet, that pen. And we're gonna move on to his hat and his outfit and her shoes. Her shoes might look good like a pop in red, because we don't have really any red here unless we put red in the spider. We can have red in her shoes. We can also do a dark purple again. We're gonna have the book, I think, in beautiful emerald green, And then, well, we'll do his hat and outfit, and then we'll decide. We don't want too many redundant colors. We want the colors to all tie together. So I'm a little annoyed that I didn't push that air pocket down. So I got that little boo-boo right there. Ugh, hate that. Anyway, I can trace all the way up and make it look like that's part of the pattern. All right. So anyway, we are done. We're going to move on. Okay. So I did do some things off camera because there's so many little details that it was going to take forever with filming time. And I wanted to get a few things in that I can just tell you what I did. The first thing I did was for her one boot that shows. All I did is I took a water-based marker, which is this Hethrone marker, in deep reddish purple. It's basically an eggplant color. You can see kind of like in her hair. And it's only because I had it right here sitting by me. But you can use a Tombow Dual brush pen or a Ohuhu Maui water brush pens, which I recommend for this class. Look for really, really dark purple. All I did is real quick base it in that. Let it dry for about 10 minutes because it is water-based. And then when it felt kind of dry, I took the Indanthrone Blue PC208. And you can write this down. So for our boot, based it in an eggplant dark purple water-based marker, let it dry. Came back and I went over it with this Indanthrone Blue to give this nice, deep, rich, bluish purple color. And that's PC208. So that's what I did there, real easy. I also wanted to look like there's a green potion under the bubbles inside the cauldron. Instead of just showing the inside of it like, you know, up to the side there, it was clear. We had to color like what the inside of a pot would look like, gray or silver or whatever. So I put in my Tombow Dual brush pen. I also happen to have standing here P173. It's super bright. Let me show you here. I don't even know if this is, it almost looks neonish to me, but I happen to have it here, so I guess that worked. And then let that dry, and then I had here nearby also a Copic marker, and this is the fluorescent green FG, and it comes with the full Copic set. And I just darkened that in that corner right there and right here, so it looks like a little more of a shadow. Didn't really do anything over here. And that's all I did for that little potion there. Super easy. So just find a fluorescent pen. You can use a fluorescent alcohol marker, a fluorescent water-based pen, or you can just straight up use the brightest green pencil of whatever kind you have. Do that, and then if you need to tap a little yellow into the middle to make it look more neon, you can do that. Like I have here this Deco Yellow. I'm going to put a little bit of that on there. Yeah, that helps it give that more fluorescent potion limey slime stuff. Okay, so I did that, very easy. Then what I did is the book, and I'm not quite done with it yet, but I want to tell you what I did do. What I did do is I did the whole thing in a Copic marker and a dark green. This is Veronese green, G09. Wait, is that the one I used? Yes, it is. And it's basically straight up emerald, Wizard of Oz emerald, green city, spring grass. Not even like, this is more spring grass, just a pure Christmas green on the lighter side, like a straight primary on the rainbow color green. I let that dry. Then I took a couple of pencils. First thing I did is I used this Indanthrone Blue, the same thing I put over this boot for the letters. Very sharp. Okay, PC208. Then, and it was fine the way it was, but I wanted it a little more rich than that. So then I put over that pencil the Tombow Dual brush pen, the Purple Violet, which is the felt tip pen. So, you know, generally you would do the other direction, but I wanted to, it wasn't quite as bold as I wanted, so I put that on there, and now I think it looks great. So you could really see that. But then it looked really flat with the alcohol marker. So I took a couple green pencils. Primarily I took Prussian green and grass green, 109 and 909. The Prussian green was darker, so I did the spine. I went over the green marker in this Prussian green, nice and dark. Then I took the grass green, and I went over the green marker, this whole backside. I went over it with this pencil. I went over it up here and the bottom. And the center I did not. And then I took the Deco Yellow 1011. I did these two little spine marks here. And then I put the Deco Yellow in the middle on top of the green marker. And so it looks like the book looks a little faded, a little kind of yellowy, like a yellow dust, or like the green is starting to fade like an older book. And it gave a nicer pop of the letters around it with that light yellow there. Have not done the stars. I'm thinking of doing a gold stickles, gold stars. I need to double check, so I haven't done the stars color yet until I'm not sure. Oh, the other thing I did is I did the spider's legs in a straight up black marker. Same one I did for this background, but you can use any black marker, like the Tumble Dual brush pen, or Tumble Dual brush pen. Oh yeah, the Pit Artist pen was, and then we're gonna do the body in red. I have the pencils pulled for that. And that's really all I did, just a few little details. Oh, and I did her band, sorry, and her hat. I did the band in a straight up orange alcohol marker. This was a Copic Chinese orange, YR09. So any alcohol marker you find that's just, it looks like a pumpkin orange, just go ahead and put that right on in there. I didn't even put a pencil over it. I waited about 2 minutes. Then I did a second layer. Looks fine. That's all I did. And then I put this orange in the band in her hair. And I put the orange on one of the bands around the broom, not both, over the pencil right here. And that's all I did for those kind of pops of color, trying to make everything kind of cohesive. All right, so now we can continue. So go ahead and make those notes so you can make those changes. I want to go ahead and do the clouds. Since we're at it, might as well finish some stuff up here in the sky, the clouds and the bats. So for the clouds, I pulled a couple grays. Primarily, we'll keep it kind of a little bit white, but I pulled some grays. I have cool gray 10%, cool gray 20%, and cool gray, I'm sorry, warm gray 20%. Yeah, warm gray 20%, cool gray 20%, and then 10% cool gray. And so, do I not have cards for those? I guess apparently I don't. Well, the darker of those is the 20% warm gray. And there's really only 2 clouds. So all I'm really going to do is take this 20% warm gray, PC1051, if you want to write that down. My swatch block is full for this palette. I can't fit in these last few colors, so you're going to want to write this down. And I'm just going to kind of fluff this into the little corners of the cloud, and I'm going to circle my pencil. Circle, 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 fluff it in. Just around each little bulbous kind of area right there. Same thing over here. Okay. Very light. Okay, and then we're going to go to the 20% cool gray. And I'm going to very soft blend that in. I'm going to even go right over it and just bring that down a little bit. We'll put the white in the center, but we bring it a little bit down. I'm doing it really kind of pale, but you want it to be soft and fluffy, so I'm kind of circling it. Circling it. All right, and then the 10% cool gray. I'm gonna mix this one in too. I'm not gonna go all the way to the center, but I'll put some white in there at the very center. But I'm going to kind of try to blend over the edge of those other two colors. And this kind of like brightens and softens it up, kind of prepares it for that white color. Both sides, leaving it white in the center. Okay, then take the white pencil, blend all that into the center. You can overlap a little bit those grays. Sometimes I'll put a little Winsor Newton white ink into these clouds just in the middle part, but a lot of you won't have that, so I'm running over the gray with the white pencil. It helps give it a nicer look. Then I'm going to take my blender, make sure there's no purple or anything on it. I'm picking that off. I'm going to blend that in. It's nice and soft. So it's pretty subtle. If you get a little pencil or something on the black background, like I did, just touch it up with the marker, cover it. Easy peasy. So the clouds look kind of gray and faded, whitish gray, but it's really all you need. It's very easy and subtle. I have the colors for the bats, which are some kind of bluish tones. All right, let's do the bats. For the bats, where is my, okay, sorry, talking to myself. So for the bats, I have 1, 2, 3 colors: Imperial Violet, Slate Gray, and Blue Violet Lake. So that is, I'll show you the cards. You can write that down. I gotta use my eraser here. All right, so these are the colors: Slate Gray 936, 1007 Imperial Violet, and Blue Violet Lake. For the bats, you're going to want everything nice and sharp. And we'll start with the Imperial Violet. And we couldn't do black because, you know, of the black background. So with the Imperial Violet, I'm going to use a light pressure, so it's pale. I'm going to kind of follow along the top outline of the bat, the shape of it, a little bit on the head, and then follow it along over to here, the corner. Let's do this one. We're just going to outline the top here. And over here. Let's do this one. Another thing I did is this border here. I forgot to tell you. All I did is use the dark purple artist pen, the purple violet. Any dark blue pen would work. You could even use a purple gel pen for some sparkle. any kind of dark purple. It helps, looks good against the black. It reinforces the purple theme we have throughout the picture as well. If you did something lighter, like I thought of doing like an orange, but that's going to draw your eye too much to it. You want your eye to go to the center. So you don't really want your eye to be drawn to the border. And if I used a bright orange like that, think about it, your eye's going to notice the border before anything else. Okay. Over here. And here. These little ones, you can barely get in very much, but you can try. Just right at the top. Okay, next let's do the Blue Violet Lake. We're going to gently blend that just into part of that purple, bring it down to the kind of the middle, and we're going to use that slate gray for a lot of the rest of it. Leave all that white there. You can see it's a little better here. Bringing that down just a little. Gonna bring it to just a little of this. Let's go over here. Let's get this one up here. Go down here. To get a little more on this wing right here. Okay. And this little guy here, we're blending in a little bit down. Just kind of getting that color in. I forgot this little bit here, so I'll just put some just of this color in, maybe at the top here. Let's get this one. Okay. Whew. Next, let's do slate gray. We'll use the slate gray to finish off, and a light touch. We want it to not be darker than the colors above it, so use a gentle touch when you put in this color. That looks good. We'll put a little, you can see the bats really well. Let's go over here, fill in this one. we will blend these out later. I want to get some of this into this little guy up here. Right. Some white spots on here. I need to get this in. Let's get on over here. Let's get this little guy. Okay, I think I might take the Imperial and just touch up at the their heads a little more, make the heads a little darker, like right at the top before I blend right along here. Okay. Touch again with the Blue Violet Lake where I ended it there. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get our blender sticks. I'm going to tap in a little white at the pointy bottom of each, along the bottom, just so it pops a little more when we blend it. All right, a little more vibrant, noticeable. Okay. Get our Prismacolor blender and let's blend. Actually, I need to do the bigger ones first because my ends are pretty flat. For the little ones, I really actually will have to sharpen it so I don't go over and catch any of the background. Go over here. Now push down. Don't make the mistake I did with that hat. Push until the paper's flat and then blend. You don't want like a pocket of air underneath. Been there, done that, as you saw. Okay. All right. Just doing a little final touch here so we can see those bats. They look really nice on top of the black. I like that, the look, and now they look nice and soft and fluffy. Looks like a good combo. Oof. All right, so that's all done. Those look fine. So if you need to write these down on your own swatch or make a note, again, we had the Imperial Violet, the Slate Gray, the Blue Violet Lake, and the white is what we use for the bats, if you wanted to jot that down. Both, I have already used 3 pages in this swatch. I can't possibly use another page. So just go ahead and jot that down and add that. And the blender stick, of course. Okay, I think the sky's looking good. We're gonna dot in a little bit of stars later with a white gel pen. I'm considering now going ahead and doing the handle on this pot. I grabbed a silver metallic pen. This is Spectrum Noir Metallic Silver Ingot, and you can get a 3-pack. It's got silver, gold, and rust. I have a couple of these packs, and I've been using them for years. So it's double-ended. One's a fine point, one's a thicker point. I wanted to go ahead and do I'm gonna assume the handle on this is more like brass. You could also do gold or brass if you only have a gold paint pen, or any kind of metallic glitter pen, silver, gold, or brass. You could use the Prismacolor silver pencil. I wanted mine to look a little more metallic. Always good to have some metallics because we do actually use them, especially the pens. Yeah, so that's one not only is it quick and easy, it looks realistic metallic. I also need to put in some kind of metal into their belts on their hat, and I'm torn between silver and gold. I could use the same one, but I'm thinking of something more sparkly, so I'm going to hold off. So again, this is a Spectrum Noir sparkle pen. I can link this below. I use this for all like my Christmas ornaments and any flatware and silverware and kitchen scenes, and just any jewelry on portraits. Anytime there's metal, it's really a good one to have. All right, so now we can go ahead and do the little body on this spider. I have 3 colors for this: raspberry, pomegranate, and crimson lake. The raspberry is the darkest, then followed by, I would say, the pomegranate. Well, oh gosh, I'm really torn. Yeah, I'd say the raspberry is the darkest, followed by the crimson, then the pomegranate. So that's the order we're gonna do the little spider, and then we're gonna use a wet Posca pen to put dot spots on him. So we shall use the raspberry. And I'm gonna do the inside of his body, but close to the black line. I don't even know if we need 3. You could theoretically use 2. Just put that in his little body there. Then the crimson, I want to do the next layer in a little. Then the pomegranate. Okay, then I might go back to the raspberry and darken it up at the top. And it kind of pops a little more. Yeah, and then I might touch in, just think it around a little bit of that crimson again. And the pomegranate. Then his eyes, I thought about doing his eyes kind of a little bit of a touch of a blue using that same blue violet lake that we had used in the bats. I'm going to put that into his eyes gently and light. You can, it's just a tint of it. It's not overkill or anything. All right. And his nose, I feel, should be black. So I'm going to use the tip of my alcohol marker to be black on his nose. Okay. And then we're going to use our white Posca pen. Paint pen. Activate it a few times and use a piece of paper to top it, make sure it's flowing. I'm going to use this to put some spots on his body. Doop, 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 doop. And maybe a couple spots on his legs. So maybe 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. This is a cute spider, not a scary spider. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm gonna dot a tiny dollop on his eye, his iris. Yeah, it's all you need for the spider. Plus it gives like a little bit of a texture, which I like as well. So that's super simple. I'm gonna try something here. Purely experimental. Interesting. I dotted a little Posca pen in the little pumpkin's nose here just to see if it makes it look glow more. It does a little. Worth. Oh, I'm gonna put this white highlight my Posca pen on her shoe as well, right there. Okay. And that's it for the Posca pen. Any white acrylic pen will work, or white gel pen. One of the things I recommend often. So that spider really kind of pops out, which I like that a lot. So we're going to move on to his hat and outfit and the cauldron, and then we're bordering being done. This is a very detailed picture, but we wanted to do a really nice job. I want this to be a really nice book. It's got gorgeous pictures. All right, so we will be continuing this here shortly.